All right, welcome back, everybody. I'm here now with that full forecast, starting you off with current temperatures, just because we've got a couple different factors going on right now. Still pretty warm down here in the southern Concho Valley in the Northwest Hill Country. 79 degrees here in Junction, Menard, and Sonora. 74 over here in San Angelo, so a little bit cooler, and even cooler up here in the Big Country. You see 67 degrees here in Coleman, 65 in Abilene, even down to 61 degrees over there in Comanche. But eventually, everyone is going to be cooling down. We're seeing lows in the 60s for just about everybody, so we're still above average. We've got a lot of cloud cover in the area that's keeping some of that heat in as we get through the day. 60s just about everywhere. 66 here in San Angelo, Ballinger, Merton. 68 down here in Junction, out to Ozona. Not looking like I'm seeing anybody in the 50s, thankfully. Now, as we get over these next couple of hours, I showed you the severe storm risk, so we're going to break that down just a little bit further. Our greatest threat is going to be hail, similar to what we saw this weekend, where most of us are within this 50% chance of seeing hail greater than an inch or so. But remember this hatched mark here, that means we have a chance of seeing hail greater than 2 inches. And if tomorrow is going to be anything like this past weekend, we definitely will, and we'll see a lot of it. But this time the focus is going to be up here in this northeastern area. As we get closer to the Texas and Oklahoma border, you're going to see this shape a lot, where the brunt of these storms are going to be coming to this area here, including Wichita Falls, getting into central Oklahoma as well. Now we transition to tornadoes, and we still have a pretty low chance, 2% for most of us, especially here in the Concho Valley. But we get up to that 5% chance again here in the Big Country, getting up here from Eastland County all the way up into Knox. And you'll see that same pattern where if you expand it outward, we have those greater chances as you get closer to the Texas border, getting towards the Texas-Oklahoma area. We're just barely outside of that 10% risk and that hash area. So hopefully we won't be seeing any tornadoes in our area specifically, and we can keep ourselves safe. Now, winds, of course, is going to be a very similar story. The same winds that keep things strong enough to make hail continue to grow in size is going to be the same winds that come through us with these storms, as well as make tornadoes more likely. So we've got that 50% chance for just about everybody. And usually we are seeing strong winds. It's one of our major threats. So that is not a surprise whatsoever. So I've got the weather pattern here. This is the stationary front that's been sitting over our area for the past couple of hours now. And it could have caused some storms over here in the Concho Valley, getting towards the Eglert Plateau as well. But the radar right now is pretty clear, and it's looking like it's going to stay that way. But as we continue into the rest of the night, we're going to see this low pressure system start to make its movement to the area. This warm front is going to transition and make its way up north into Oklahoma. Meanwhile, this dry line and this cold front are going to start creating some of these storms as we get into Wednesday morning. Now, they could just start as showers if we see a low pressure system come through. That'll be very, very light, and it'll use up some of the energy we have sitting in the atmosphere. But if not, as we get later into the afternoon and evening, that's when our opportunity for more severe storms start to come up. You see some more of these yellows and reds. And I want to be honest with you, this forecast was a little bit tricky because not a lot of our models are in agreement yet about what these storms could look like. But I can definitely tell you, as we get later into the evening, we're going to see this dry line start to materialize, more of those storms like we saw this weekend, and they'll make their way east towards us in the area. Again, the Big Country getting more of the rain that we'll see with this system. So the dry line and the cold front will approach, but as we get into Thursday morning, this cold front is going to be what takes over, and it's going to be passing through during those morning hours, bringing some more storms to the area as it passes through and taking in that dry line. So rain totals are not really looking that high. We're really only expecting to see rain where these storms roll through. Otherwise, you may not see much at all. But after we get through that on Thursday afternoon, we get to Friday, and we're going to see some much clearer conditions as high pressure works its way in. It'll give us clearer skies, still some semi-gusty conditions, but some very, very hot temperatures. You see, we're jumping into the triple digits by the time we get into the weekend, so be prepared for that. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see some fire weather conditions and alerts come out later in the week.